Greetings, Michelle Wadley back here with you again, author of Shadow Work, A Spiritual Path to Healing and Integration. I've made a few of these videos now, but I want to take you deeper into one of the most important concepts within the book. And it is on, if you happen to own the book or you're thinking about buying the book, it is on page 147. It starts at 147. And it's about the three questions that we ask. Now, this can actually be a little bit jarring or, I mean triggering to somebody, but if you can trust the process, and I'm asking you in this moment, even if you've never seen me before, to trust me for a couple of minutes. Why? Because I've done the work. I've done the work myself. And everything that I teach and everything that I write about comes out of success stories, my own and the stories of others. I have been witness to the miraculous when someone is willing to reintegrate an aspect of themselves that they have once rejected. And that's what shadow work is all about. Because whether you realize it or not, there's often parts of you that have been cast out, rejected, repressed. Why? Either it's a part of you that you rejected because you judged it, or you were judged, or you weren't feeling worthy enough, or you weren't feeling good enough, or you weren't feeling smart enough. And so what happens is we start to manipulate who we are and the way we're being, and we create this inauthentic life. And we shove down parts of ourselves so that we can hide them and then create things that we think will be accepted, aspects, characteristics, ways of being. It's when you might feel like you have to be the smart person in the room, the funny person in the room, the wise person in the room, and you feel compelled. Whenever you find yourself compelled in any kind of behavior, even if the behavior registers as good behavior, for example, let's say you can't stop cleaning your house. You could just think of yourself as a neatnik, but I assure you, there's something underneath driving you to that incessant behavior. I promise you that that's true. So what we do is we take a look at behaviors that keep us off tilt, that keep us not feeling authentic or free, or especially free when we don't feel free to embrace ourselves, to just be who we are. And instead, we're always feeling compelled to be something else. This is what shadow work is all about, is to, heal that and bring that down into a livable, workable way of being. So if you have people in your life, and I know you do, if you're breathing, you have people in your life like this, or if you've done all the work, God bless you, and you have had people like this. When you have someone who crosses your path, and when I say that, it could be your spouse, your partner, it could be a perfect stranger. If you cross paths with somebody and you find yourself having a really gross, strong reaction to who they are, and you can't quite figure out what it is, or maybe you think you know what it is, but you can't stop it from happening. These are all invitations for you to reintegrate into your wholeness parts of you that have rejected. And the way I know this is that because when you reject an aspect of yourself, it won't stay rejected for long. It must be seen. It must be. It must be seen. It must be loved. It must be called home. And so, in an effort to be seen and loved, it projects itself out onto other people. And it doesn't seem obvious when it's happening, but this is what happens. And so Let's say you come upon, let's go back with you being a neatnik. Let's say you're a neatnik, but your best friend is a slob. Now, I've come to believe in my lifetime that there are many different ways of being, and I know I definitely don't clean my house the way I used to when I was younger. Why? I'm busier, I'm older, and I don't care so much. But if I'm the person who you're the neatnik and you come to my house and you look around and you think to yourself, my God, what's wrong with her? That is an immediate clue that there's something within you to heal. I encourage you that when you have reactions like this, instead of thinking of them as something wrong or something you want to get your friend to change her way of being or his way of being, whoever, you think to yourself, what is this and where does it live inside of me? Okay, number one. And so what I suggest in the book, and I will give initial credit to Debbie Ford, but I felt that her questions in her book didn't quite do it for me. They didn't complete the process for me. So I have three questions. So if I'm accusing you of being a slob, I'm switching roles right now. The first thing I want to do is quietly within myself. I want to ask myself, am I that? No, I'm not a slob. Have I ever been that? Maybe I used to be a little sloppy. Maybe not so much. But then the third question is, do I object to that? And that would be a slam dunk yes. You see, the first question invites you to be honest with yourself about whether or not you actually have the same qualities and characteristics, but you're not liking it, and so you reject it and you judge it in another. The second question, similar, but it means that you've been that in the past and you didn't like it, so you changed it, but it's likely you haven't healed the judgment you have around it. So you still find fault in another. And then the third question has a lot to do with your nuclear family because, and I could use better examples in this, but if I am not if I'm not a sloppy person and I've never been very sloppy, it's possible I came out of a house where my parents lived in complete disorder and I didn't feel safe. I didn't like the way it felt. I didn't like bringing friends over. So I grossly objected to that behavior in them. And once again, what happens is I am in objecting to it. I'm like cementing that reaction to who I am. And it is, by the way, the judgment of this action or these people that keep it alive. It is the judgment. Okay. So then when I realize, oh, I object to that, and I think about why, and the why is that's what I came out of in my life, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit and get fully present. And what I want to do now is I want to call in those parts and into myself. And I want to affirm that it's safe for me to love those parts and to bring them home and to stop objecting to them. I'm going to read to you a mind shift that I have in the book. I call forth the love of all that surrounds me now to be my guide, my path, and my strength. I show up here for myself with total conviction that I am worthy, completely, wonderfully worthy, worthy of my good and my transformation. Never again will I ever criticize or judge myself, not aloud and not to myself. Today is a day that I begin to look at myself in the mirror with great love and with compassion. I honor my journey and I credit myself for having the courage to look within as a response to my without. My awareness sees what needs to be seen, but I do remember not to give any power to it. My life reflects back to me all my lost and rejected parts, but every day in every way possible. I want to read that part again. My life reflects back to me all my lost and rejected parts, but every day in every way possible, I begin to love myself as I am, and I bring all of me back home. I walk, act, and respond differently because my wholeness is at hand. I appreciate the law that takes my spoken word and acts upon it with a bounty of unending gratitude. I release my word to be creative as so, and so shall it be. Okay, so what happens here? What happens is when I practice radical honesty, looking at another to find parts of me, and then I choose to stop judging it. I choose to love it even as I see it in another. And I call it back home. And you're going to think this is an exaggeration. But what happens is it stops showing up in the outside. So let's go back to our scenario. You are the neatnik and I'm the slob. And before now, I used to annoy you. But once you heal this part and you bring it home, what happens is this. It stops showing up in others. And suddenly you look at me with great patience and understanding and compassion. And while you might still care somewhat about coming to my home if I'm a slob, it will not cause a reaction inside of you the way it used to. I'm here to tell you that shadow work, just like forgiveness work that I also speak of often, shadow work creates healing. Shadow work provides freedom. When you do your shadow work, not only do you pull these parts back in and find freedom, you suddenly have a bounty of new potency and power and energy that was lost in all of that emotional activity. So get yourself a copy. This book is available in Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and currently in many, many Targets. So please run, get yourself a copy, sign on to our website for the new courses. I am beginning a shadow course based on this book. So for this time around, this time only, the course is going to be $150 because it's a new launch and we like to do that while giving a gift. So it is going to be based solely on the book. So get yourself a copy, start reading, go to my website, plannedhappinessinstitute.com, and sign up today to start your integration and to find those parts of you that are beautiful and lovely and amazing, and the parts of you that you deserve to have back inside. Massive love to you. Talk soon. Bye.